And for example, returning to that metaphor that we saw, like a university as a bridge. For
Mm-hmm.
Brazilian students, Brazilian universities, they are more like a onshore, and European universities are more like a trampoline for them. So I remember those.
Can you say that again? Can you say that again, Clara, please?
Yes, for Brazilian students,
Uh-huh.
Brazilian university works more like an onshore,
Uh-huh. Okay.
going to keep them uh, in the same situation or in the same. It's not going to make them move or go ahead.
Uh-huh.
And they see they have this metaphor in their minds that the abroad universities could be more like a trampoline that's
Uh-huh.
really going to take them to a different place, you know.
Yeah.
So I really love those metaphors because they bring us like more a subjective meaning or definition of the role of a university and really can make us imagine a lot of things.
Yes, what Clara is trying to say is that many Brazilian students, they are really fed up with the current educational system we have, you know. They are
Uh-huh.
searching for more innovative methodologies and innovative ways of learning. And Clara can say it very well because she's also a professor in one of the universities in São Paulo, you know. She deals with students every day.
Yeah.
So besides working for Conviv and being a researcher, she's also a professor. And from what she tells me from her class, you know, from what the students say, is that they would like to have more innovation, you know, more different approach in the classroom. We see that European universities, you know, they have this is a great selling point because this is what you should expect when you go to European university or to Denmark. From what I have learned from you guys, you know, how it's like to be there. And this is also shown by the study we have done last year. You know, they are looking for more innovation, for more multidisciplinary approach. You know, for more hands-on links with the industry. You know, that they are not really finding here. And then, guys, let's move on. We are about to finish. We have just a Dutch case from one of our clients that we would like to show to you guys, and then we have the conclusions, and we'll be open for questions if you have any. We would
Okay.
like to talk about the one of our clients. It's a Dutch university in the south of the Netherlands, and we're going to show you how we have been working with them here in Brazil. You know, this particular study we have been talking about was done for this client. It's a Dutch University of Applied Science. In the Netherlands, you have two different types of universities. One more focused on research, more scientific research, and the other one more applied for hands-on in marketing, you know, training the students
Mhm.
should be able to work in the market straight away. Uh,
Okay.
how we have been working with them with data, we have been doing studies in Brazil to collect data and information in the market, you know, in order to help them to make better decisions in the market. And then we have been doing unique promotions. You know, we don't really go to road shows or those educational fairs that most universities do it in Brazil because they are very expensive. B, they are not
Mhm.
really target because you are in a big conference room or event center together with hundreds of the university, you know, and you have all types of people and students looking for anything pretty much, you know. And we believe in a more customized approach, you know, that's less expensive and more assertive and effective. To give you an example, instead of road shows or participating in those big events, we have been doing partnerships with many schools in São Paulo, private schools, international bilingual schools, because we know families there and students there, they'll be able to pay the tuition fees. And they already have this mindset of searching for a different type of education, even going abroad to study. So we have been building relationships with those schools and making tailor-made events in there with small group of students also parents and educators. We don't talk with the students, but we also talk with the educators in the school, with the parents in the school. We talk pretty much about the career they would like to have in the future. We always like to have a link, to make a link about what the university offers, what are the expertise of the university, and we, instead of going there to simply give a commercial presentation about the university, inviting the students to go there and advertise the university. We try to make some fun workshops where we talk about the gaming industry, for instance. Our client has a bachelor and a master in games, so we go there to talk about the gaming industry. What's like to work in the gaming industry. What are the possibilities. Also for parents, many parents, they don't know that you can get really good jobs and have a great career in the gaming industry. We educate the parents as well, and also the teachers there. We go there to talk about mobility, because our client, for instance, has a bachelor course, the master course in mobility. We talk about what could you learn about mobility, how could you make a difference in Brazil when you come back after you have a degree in mobility, how many projects, how great projects could you build if you have this expertise. And this is a more assertive approach, and it's paying off because many schools here, even the American school in São Paulo, the British school, the Swiss school, they have been interested in sending students to the Netherlands. The students have more interest to go to the Netherlands, and this wasn't a possibility 2 3 years ago because nobody really heard about going to the Netherlands. But when you go there and when you talk about the possibilities, the opportunities, people get interested, and we can start getting results.
Yeah, what Itamar is saying is in this different way of working. So we do innovative research, as I already explained, in a way that I try to understand how culture and network works, and then we create solutions. Then universities can relate to this network. So doing like tailor-made events in schools is just one of the solutions that we came up from this research. We have other ones as well, but if we are going to talk about all of them, we are going to take a lot of time here. So we really think that universities, they have great opportunity for relating with Brazilian students in a unique way, and then should really be open for this, because Brazilians, what we are saying is that Brazilians high school Brazilian high schools, they are really open to hear what European universities they have for their students, and they are open to learn more about this opportunities.
Yeah, one thing you mentioned, and I thought it was very interesting, and it's actually worth talking about it, is because we've often, it seems to me, that Brazilian institutions, the education institutions, are more attached to all the traditional education courses. So you mentioned about the game, a game course for games, for developing games and all that. Do you think that these kind of courses that are non-traditional would generate, are they more attractive than other traditional courses like medicine or businesses?
I think it's changing in Brazil. I think there is a part of the population that still wants to do very traditional course, because their families or educators influence, But we see a trend here in the country with a lot of young people wanting to do more innovative studies, such as games, mobility, for instance. It is growing, it is changing, But I think we have two markets right now: the traditional market, where people just want to study business administration, as per se, marketing, communication, and we have a new market, a totally new market that is growing it's increasing rapidly, that it's about those more innovative courses, So if there are universities in Denmark that can offer these possibilities, I think we believe they're going to have a good market in Brazil as well, to catch the attention of these students and the parents and educators here.
Yeah, I know from my own experience that some students, they go abroad because they cannot find the course in Brazil. Say, for example, sound engineering, which in Brazil is just a technical course. It's not considered a high degree yet. At least it wasn't some years ago. And there's even the universities here, they're also investing to new intuitive courses as well. Like we have SDU, the Southern University of Denmark. They're starting a new course on unmanned aerial devices, like the drones. So they're going to be investigating that for commercial use as well. So that's something that's going to be used in Europe. And I know universities in the UK who also offer, as you said, the game courses for those who want to work in the game industry. So they're very specific for this type of industry. So I was just curious to find out if this is something that the Brazilians in general, the Brazilian students, they're looking for.
And I think it's also a global trend that students, they are going to try to search less for careers, but more for self-development. Because in my opinion, the careers are changing. So you don't want anymore to become a journalist or to become a advertiser. You just want to develop yourself in communication skills. Mm-hmm. And then you are going to name later what you have become, Yeah. So, for example, in Brazil, is raising some courses as like a fashion blogger, something really different. But because Brazilians, they love social media and they dream about the possibility of become famous, sharing content in social media, those type of courses, new courses are rising here. So I think we are also going to, it's a global trend, to change the way that you search for courses as well. Less about a specific career that we are going to follow, but more about how you can develop your own talents and relate to the contemporary world.
Guys, to conclude, we have made a slide with a few bullet points. We would like to go over them. So some important conclusions and highlights of this meeting and the study we have done last year. Paying for higher education in Brazil, it's an expected situation. As we said before, we have two markets in Brazil: the public schools, universities, and the private ones. But for the reason we don't have enough public universities to really receive all the Brazilian students interested in studying higher education, they have to pay for the courses, and also it's very difficult to get in. If you haven't done a good high school, if you were not prepared during high school, it's going to be very hard and difficult to get in a public university, So as a result, you go to private ones, you have to pay for it. For Brazilian students, the university is a bridge. So as we mentioned, it's something that it's part of their lives. They build higher expectations of it, and it really defines what type of adult, what type of person they're gonna be after they conclude the bachelor or the master's or whatever they have been able to study. The Science Without Borders is on hold. We believe it's coming to an end. However, we see it as a great marketing for Europe. Before, most of Brazilian students were only going to the US. Still during the Science Without Borders, more than 1/3 of the Brazilian students went to the US. Okay? But because the program only allowed a certain number per country, they had to choose different destinations. and many of them went to Europe, especially to Scandinavian countries where they have never ever thought about going, including Denmark as well, and we believe it was a good match. There is a good match between Danish university and the Brazilian market. We are not specialists about Denmark and Danish university. We you guys know much better than us, but from what we have been listening from you guys, from what we have been reading about Danish university, about studying the market, it is a good match because you guys have everything that Brazilians are looking for. Innovation, is a friendly country, is safe, has a multidisciplinary approach. For that reason, we believe there is a good match between what you guys can offer and what Brazilians are looking for. And customized approach pays off. We because of the time we cannot show you all the projects we have been doing for some universities, for some international universities in Brazil that we have been working with. But so far, what we have been doing, such as the tailor-made event, where we build partnerships with schools and universities, and we go there, we build relationships with the students, with their parents, with the educators, instead of participating in macro and big events. Pays off because when we talk about Brazil, it's pretty much about building relationships, and then you start collecting good KPIs and results, and that's what we have been doing, building relationships, showing the great opportunities of going abroad, of going to Europe abroad, and then the students start get more interest. The parents, the educators are also become more interested in going to Europe, and then in a medium long term, we see new numbers of students going abroad, paying the tuition fees, and being big part of the Brazilian student international population in those universities. So far from our presentation, that's it from us, and we are happy to answer any questions you guys have. And for people who are watching us as well, this is our contact. You can always send us an email, and we will be happy to answer any question.
Itamar and Clara, thank you very much for this insightful presentation. I think it's been great. I mean, you've brought really first-hand knowledge and really customized knowledge about the education market in Brazil, about all the opportunities for I would say not even Danish, but really Scandinavian universities, because the countries are really similar. Probably Danes, they want to kill me when they hear that. But all countries here, we perceive them as safe. They offer innovative education methods, and I do believe that there is a huge opportunity for these universities willing to get Brazilian students in their portfolio, so to speak, as client. So thank you very much for the presentation. It's been great, guys. Great presentation, and yeah, talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
Absolutely.